To reach a $500,000 or a $1 million portfolio, you have to become a specialist in deprivation. You have to be the person who says no when everyone else is saying yes. No to the brand new car, no to the luxury vacation, and no to the lifestyle inflation that quietly drains the bank accounts of your peers. This discipline is your superpower. It is the engine that pushes that massive boulder up the hill when your contributions are the only thing making it move. But here is the silent danger that almost no one talks about. Those exact same habits, the ones that made you wealthy in the first place, can actually become a wealth trap once you hit the crossover point. If you don't learn how to pivot your psychology, you might end up in a very strange position, having a massive, 7-figure investment account, but still living the restricted lifestyle of someone who is completely broke. Your bank account has reached the peak of the hill, but your brain is still stuck in the grind. Today, we are breaking down why the accumulation mindset is your greatest asset early on, but can become your biggest liability later. We are going to look at the 3 specific habits you need to unlearn so that your quiet wealth doesn't just stay on a screen, but actually buys you the freedom you've been working for. Before we discuss the first habit, the save everything rule, hit the like button. It helps this message reach more people who are working hard but might be forgetting why they started in the first place. The scarcity autopilot, the villain. Most high savers are running on an autopilot of scarcity. After a decade of training yourself to watch every penny, your brain becomes wired to find safety only in the act of saving. You might still feel a sharp pang of guilt when spending money on a nice dinner or a better pair of shoes, even if your portfolio grew by $3,000 that very same day. This is what we call mental lag. It is a psychological delay where your bank account has successfully reached the crossover point, but your mind is still stuck in the excavation phase from 10 years ago. You have the financial reality of a winner, but the internal stress of someone who is just trying to survive. Think of it like a long-distance runner who keeps sprinting at full speed even after they have crossed the finish line. From the outside, they are winning, but internally, they are exhausted, they are gasping for air, and they are completely missing the celebration. They are so focused on the effort of the run that they have forgotten how to stop and enjoy the victory. If you find yourself checking your balance with a sense of anxiety rather than a sense of peace, you are caught in the autopilot trap. You are letting the habits of your past steal the freedom of your present. To escape this, we have to look at the first rule that served you well in the beginning, but is now holding you back. The save everything rule. Unlearning habit number 1, the save everything rule. In the early years of your journey, saving everything was the only logical strategy. We call this phase 1, or the grind. In this stage, your manual contributions are the only thing driving your growth. If you don't put the money in, the engine simply does not start. Every $500 you save is a victory because it represents a direct brick in the foundation of your future. But then, you reach phase 2, the crossover point. This is the stage where the math fundamentally changes. Your annual investment growth now begins to dwarf the amount you can manually save from your paycheck. At this point, the save everything rule stops being a ladder and starts being a ceiling. Think about the trade-off. Saving an extra $500 a month at this stage might only move your eventual retirement date by a few weeks or months. The mass of your portfolio is already doing the heavy lifting. However, spending that same $500 on a meaningful experience, a trip with your family, a hobby you've ignored, or simply a way to reduce your daily stress, might change the quality of your entire year. The wealth trap is believing that you still need to optimize for pennies when your machine is already producing dollars while you sleep. You have to learn to pivot. You have to move from a mindset of maximum accumulation to one of maximum utility. If the extra savings no longer move the needle on your timeline, it is time to let that money move the needle on your life instead. Unlearning habit number 2, the fear of the red. The second habit you must unlearn is the deep-seated fear of seeing your balance go down. We spent years fearing market drops because in the early stages, we were building the base. Back then, a 20% crash felt like the foundation of your house was crumbling before the roof was even on. You felt a need to protect every dollar because you didn't have many of them. But the wealth trap occurs when you carry that same building phase, anxiety, into your harvest phase reality. When you are nearing or at the crossover point, you have to stop viewing your portfolio as a scoreboard that must always be green. Think of it this way. If you are terrified to see your balance drop by 5 or 10%, you aren't actually an owner of your wealth. You are a servant to it. You are allowing a temporary number on a screen to dictate your heart rate and your happiness. Wealth is meant for use. It is a tool for flexibility and security. When your portfolio is large enough, a market dip is no longer a threat to your future. It is just a part of the environment. You have to learn to decouple your daily emotions from the red on the screen. If you've done the work and built a diversified foundation, the red days are just the market breathing. If you can't watch the balance drop without losing sleep, you haven't actually bought your freedom yet. You've just traded a boss at an office for a boss in a brokerage app. Unlearning habit number 3, the 1 more year syndrome. The third and perhaps most dangerous habit to unlearn is what we call 1 more year syndrome. This happens when you have clearly hit your number. The math says you are ready. The crossover point is in your rearview mirror. But instead of stepping into your freedom, you tell yourself, I'll just work 1 more year for a little extra cushion. You tell yourself that another 12 months of salary will make you feel safer. But here is the logic you must understand. While your money is now doubling every 7 years due to the power of compounding, your remaining time is doing the exact opposite. Your time is a finite resource that is constantly halving. At the crossover point, you have to stop checking the oil gauge, which is your bank balance, and start checking the fuel gauge, which is your life expectancy. The wealth trap is believing that your security comes from having an even larger mountain of cash. But true security is knowing when you have enough. Every extra year you spend chasing a cushion you don't actually need is a year you are trading away while you are still healthy and young enough to enjoy it. If your portfolio is already doing the heavy lifting, that extra year of work isn't adding to your wealth. It is subtracting from your life. You have to learn to trust the machine you built. If the math says you have won the game, the only logical move is to stop playing and start living. The solution: the utility of money. Real financial independence isn't just about the math of the 4% rule or hitting a specific number on a screen. It is about understanding the utility of money. Money does not have a flat value. Its value changes based on when you use it. We have to recognize that money has its highest utility when you have the health, the energy, and the time to actually turn that capital into a life experience. $100,000 at age 30 or 40 is fundamentally different than $100,000 at age 80. At 80, that money can buy you comfort and care, but it can no longer buy you the hike through the Alps or the years of playing on the floor with your children. The quiet wealth we have been discussing throughout this series is only valuable if it eventually buys you loud freedom. If you stay trapped in the accumulation mindset forever, you are essentially treating your life like a business that never pays a dividend. You are all profit and no purpose. The solution is to start viewing your portfolio not as a trophy to be guarded, but as fuel to be used. Once the machine is self-sustaining, your new job is to figure out how to maximize the quality of your days, not just the quantity of your shares. You have spent years being a specialist in building. Now, you must become a specialist in living. If you are currently in the slow climb, keep saving. Those habits of discipline and deprivation are your superpower right now, and they are exactly what you need to reach that first major milestone. But as you work, keep the lessons of this video in the back of your mind. The greatest tragedy in personal finance is getting so good at the grind that you forget how to live the life the grind was supposed to pay for. You don't want to wake up at age 65 with a mountain of gold and a lifetime of missed opportunities. The reality is that the bar to reach the crossover point is lower than you think if you stay consistent. But the bar to actually enjoy it is much higher, because it requires you to change who you are. It requires you to move from a person who finds safety in more to a person who finds peace in enough. Don't let your quiet wealth become a quiet trap. Build your machine, trust the math, and when the time comes, have the courage to step away and claim the freedom you've already earned. Are you a natural saver who finds it hard to spend even when the math says you are safe? Drop a comment below and let's talk about the psychological side of hitting the crossover point. Stay the course. But remember why you are on it. Make sure to watch the video on your screen next to see the 5 quiet signs that you have already reached this tipping point.